Jeff Fro from Two Hacks Garage, back in Jimmy's shop, back on Jumping Jack Flash, that soon-to-be awesome nostalgia front-engine dragster. If you saw in the last few videos, Jimmy and I haven't got much sleep. We're tired. We're working around the clock. We got deadlines to meet to get this thing blasted, so my friend Fast Eddie can get everything all painted up real nice. It's going to have a really cool nostalgia look. Guys, we are making a lot of headway. This chassis is almost done. The body panel is almost done. I do have a new Lucky shirt on. Hillborn fuel injection. Check that out. I like my t-shirts, guys. I really do. And this car is going to be a Hillborn injected, so why not wear a Hillborn injection shirt? Anyway, so where we're at, well, if you saw in the last video, Jimmy and I finished up the steering on this, and it works very well. You know what? I'm very happy with it. It's all home built. We do take pride in that, of taking raw materials and making everything ourselves. A lot of cases, yeah, you can buy stuff. But in this case, we're saving a lot of money doing that. Remember, from the beginning, I'm trying to do this on a budget, and we're taking you for a ride along the whole entire journey. At the end of that video, what I showed you was us starting to fabricate up the radius rods. And what those do up front is it goes from the chassis to the actual front axle, because this thing flexes a lot and all that. It's chromoly tubing. It's lightweight. And what those radius rods do is kind of keeps everything kind of where it needs to be and still allow for that flexibility and still allow for that rigidity you need to be safe. So that's where we're at. We've got a couple days to get this done. Like I said, timelines, so I can go get the sandblasted and so Fast Eddie can take care of the painting. A friend of mine, Brian from B&R Racing, he's a smart guy. He is a wrench. He is extremely talented at what he does. He's been helping behind the scenes. He's been coming down and helping us. He's tested out my magneto. He's getting that all set up. He's setting up my strange center section with a new ring and pinion. A little bit of machining had to go into that. We'll explain that in another video. But he's also going to be testing valve springs and all kinds of other intricate mechanical things on that. So I got to give a shout out to Brian from B&R Racing. He's been a very crucial step behind the scenes on this. In fact, he's going to be here tomorrow giving us a hand. But with that, I'm rambling. Jimmy's actually inside eating breakfast. Let me show you what we got going on. See you in a second. So like I said, you know what, guys? The steering is done. It's kind of neat how that works. When you turn the steering wheel, well, you know what, guys? It ends up turning that SPE old funny car box. And what happens is, well, when that box turns, that rod moves back and forth, like I said, and this rod goes forward. Homemade support, awesome. To here, and when this thing moves, that thing kicks out up to here. A rod, which is off because we're fabricating some other stuff, goes across there, and it steers the car. Very simple, very effective, very old school. I dig it. So where we're at now, guys, is we are fabricating up the radius rods. Pretty neat. It's very simple. It does take a little bit of time. Like I said, we're making everything from scratch. And what we did in the last video is the actual radius rod arm tabs, we got those welded in. We set them at a certain angle. It's the same angle actually as the axle, so we're good with that. And as you see, we got Heim joints in there. This is not the radius rod that we're going to use. It's way too long. This is just a template for us to go off of. This came off the old car. Heavy, old, thick steel. No bueno, not using it. But for our purposes of getting stuff mocked up, it works very well. So what we need to do now, we need to come off this point and find a point on the chassis where it's going to be effective, it's going to work right, and it's not going to bind. The other part about it is we need to make sure, and we already confirmed this, that the steering rod here doesn't interfere at all with this. Because as you can see, well, it's a kind of an optical illusion. There's not a whole lot of room in there. So what we did is we checked when we moved that steering rod back and forth that no matter where this is going to be, it's not going to hit. We had to do the same thing with the steering rod that goes from here over to here. So it's all got to tie together. This is why you pay attention in math class and geometry. I know it's boring, but for any of you guys still in school listening, pay attention. It helps you go fast and it builds cool stuff. So with that, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of research. And Jimmy's inside eating breakfast, probably some yummy bacon and eggs and toast, which I should have had this morning, and I didn't. Yeah, that's where we're at. We're building radius rods, and who knows, maybe we'll get to that cowl and get that all finished up. But right now, we are just getting things focused on getting this chassis done. Because Jumping Jack Flash, well, it needs to go fast because it's a gas. See you soon. All right, well, there we go. Our radius rods are installed. Actually turned out pretty well.
Oh, kind of.
Well, yeah, kind of installed. Once we flip this car over to make the skid plate panels, if you want to call it, on the bottom, we're going to finish welding the bottom of those. But if you look, honestly, it turned out really well. So, like I said earlier, these tie to the axle to the frame, keep everything still flexible but still rigid. Turned out very, very well. And what Jimmy and I did to make sure everything is cool and kosher in the world, we went ahead and rotated the steering to make sure there was clearance with everything. We got well over 1.5 inches between everything. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to hit each other. Yeah, you know what? That actually turned out really, 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 really well.
Yeah, I have to weld it right side up. We flip it upside down. So I've always had a theory about that, because I'm not worth a hoot too much welding upside down. If God wanted me to weld upside down, I'd have been born, instead of in North America, I'd have been born down on the south end of the country or the world, like Australia or something. Then I'd be welding upside down, right?
You'd be welding down under. Those Australians got some fast-ass cars, too.
Yes, they do.
But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm going to end this video here. Pretty much, guys, other than a couple small welds like that, the chassis is done. It's actually coming together. So the next video I'm going to make, well, it's going to be finishing up that body panel. But as you can see,
it's not done until we get it painted, and then we figure out, oh, that's the part we forgot.
Yeah, which I hope there's not many. Jimmy and I are going to go over everything off camera, make sure that, we got everything right with the world. But yeah, as you can see, radius rods turned out well. Steering turned out very well. Pretty happy. See you in the next one.